Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The DRF Bets race of the day for Friday, February the 2nd. Race number 8 at Santa Anita will close out the card going down the hill. Our DRF Bets race of the day is brought to you by DRF Bets. $200 free bet, no deposit required. DRF.com/join is where you need to go. Promo code FREEBET09 will hook you up. Let's take a look at this field of fillies and mares as we conclude the card at the Great Race Place on Friday. You can access free Formulator Pass performances for this event at the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take them in post position order for you. Beginning with the 1, Wonderful Lie, back on turf for Jerry Hollendorfer. This horse got a beautiful trip to win for 25, 2 starts back, but she fired in the stretch.
Yeah, she was nice. I think she's one of the more likely win candidates in this race. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of trip she works out for Hollendorfer. Down on the inside, this is going to be the toughest that she's faced as far as going down the hill is concerned in recent memory anyway. I know she's only gone down the hill twice, but she makes a lot of sense in here. It's just going to be interesting to see ultimately what do you get for a price.
When you see a horse like this that has more seconds than wins, 8 second place finishes from 22 starts, but has a recent win, do you think that all of a sudden she has shed that image of being a seconditis horse or a bridesmaid, or are you always going back to the long-term results?
I think it's always going to be kind of planted there in my head, but at the same time, when you look at her in the career box in the upper right-hand corner, most of those second place finishes came on dirt, and now she's only tried turf 5 times, down the hill twice. So I think she is kind of in a group that I don't think there is any real standout. I think it's a pretty wide open race. I don't necessarily mean that I think they're all great. I just think it's pretty contentious. I think she makes a lot of sense.
This mare is solid. She is logical. She's trained by a great one in Jerry Hollendorfer. Here's a Formulator Fact limited positive going dirt to turf off a mini layoff. 20% winners, 460 ROI. This horse rode the rail to victory in her last turf start. Very possible she'll get a similar situation here. She's logical. She's run 79 buyers in her last 3. She'll be one of the favorites.
Yeah, and you know what, a 79, that might be what it takes to get the job done in here.
Another horse with a lot of seconds on her card is the number 2, Joyable. She's run second 9 times in her career, including her most recent start, where she finished second behind Red Livy, a horse that Wonderful Lie beat 2 starts back.
Yeah, I was going to say, this horse, she was just kind of evenly down the lane. She had some interest, though. This is the kind of horse that I look at and say, boy, that 9 times second from 31 lifetime starts, that's a hard one for me to get around. I do think, though, at a decent number, use her underneath.
Her lack of speed might work against her because, as the Timeform U.S. pace projector indicates, we're not expecting a lot of gas going down the hill. As a matter of fact, the 10, who we'll get to in a bit, is expected to clear off to the early lead, while Joyable and the next door neighbor, the 3, Utana, long shots on form, are going to have to come from off of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Utana, I don't want to bash her by any stretch, because again, I think this is a pretty wide open race. I don't see anything on the page that leads me to believe that this is going to be all of a sudden just an awakening, that she's going to jump up in a big, big way. Maybe the fact that they were on turf last time going long and now you're going to go shorter on turf, that helps her cause, but her recent form prior to that layoff is really, really poor.
I'm guessing the Mosses and John Sheriffs are hoping that this big drop in class is what she needs. This is the first time ever that she's been in for a tag. She's been running in the non-winners of one other than without much success. The last race on turf, she didn't do much, but the winner of that race, Dominating Woman, is a nice horse who came back to win for an $80,000 tag for Peter Miller with an 83 bar. So a little bit of class relief for the number 3, Utana, but she has to improve. Now, I'd like you to talk about the 4, Adios Cali, and I think I know where you're going with this filly. She's going to be a big price, and you know, she may be a little bit better than how she looks on paper.
Well, you can echo most of the same things I just said about the 3 with the 4. With the recent form, really, there's not a heck of a lot there to be positive about. I just kind of wonder at a certain point, you're getting some significant class relief like you talked about with the 3, and you look at the pedigree doesn't scream turf, but there's enough in there that makes you wonder, why has she only been on the turf 1 time? It was going 2 turns in her second lifetime start against Stakes Company for Peter Miller. I just kind of wonder if the connections look at it and finally say, well, you know what, the dirt thing clearly isn't working. There is some turf in there. She's a half 2 winning siblings on turf. One was 3 for 14, one was 1 for 3. Adios Charlie's 10% with turfers. Again, I just kind of look, it's not working the way that it's working now. Let's try something different.
I wouldn't hold the 1 turf race against her because, as you mentioned, she was not only in against stakes horses, she was in against Sir Cat Sally.
Really
there were 3 next out winners in that race. Yeah. Sir Cat Sally not only came back to win the China Down with an 87, but then she reeled off 3 consecutive graded stakes victories. So this is a big drop. You're also getting blinkers off for Steve Knapp, a solid trainer, and this horse has a little bit of speed. Time from US has a relatively close to the base. She's going to be something like 15, 20 to 1. It's a great price.
But yeah, and and it's just one of those, again, an instance where if you don't have a super strong opinion on anyone and you think it's a pretty wide open race, maybe you try to get creative and make a case for a horse that doesn't look great on paper.
The 5 Miss Boom Boom, compared to some of the others in this race, is a prolific winner. She scored 7 times in her career, and she paid dividends off the Doug O'Neill claim last time out, going a mile. She got a really nice stalking trip with the blinkers off. She kicked home nicely. The distance might be a little bit short, but we have seen in the past turnbacks with tactical speed, sharp ones at that, do very well going down the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's an interesting horse as far as talent is concerned. I will say that most recent run, it felt like the pace just kind of held up and she worked out a beautiful trip. And I guess the one thing that concerns me on the turnback is O'Neill's numbers aren't particularly strong. The past 5 years, winner last out route to sprint. He's only 1 for 16 with a 17-cent ROI. I think she makes a lot of sense, but it just, I don't know, it's a little bit peculiar to me. If you just won at that going 2 turns last time, why all of a sudden we're going to turn her back now?
It's hard to find angles for the 6, Veronica Bay, a horse who's 22 for 27 on the turf, 0 for 15 at Santa Anita on the lawn. But the last time she did sprint, and you got to go back to October of 2015, she ran 3rd in a down the hill race at 77 to 1.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can say she dislikes this surface. She just probably has to run her very best.
Yeah, she's going to need to get back to that race and then some if she's going to win. But again, at a giant price, maybe she's one to use.
Peach Cove goes out for David Jacobson off the claim. Here's a formulator fact for Jacobson. Past 4 years, older, newly claimed runners going 3rd off the bench on turf, 27% positive ROI. Jacobson claimed this one for 45, is willing to lose for 32. For many trainers, that is a negative, but Jacobson has done it well in the past.
Yeah, and you know, I guess the tough thing too is you're claiming from a good trainer in John Sadler, so it's not like you're expecting some giant improvement. I kind of felt like this filly was just her mare at this point. She was just too far back last time. She had way too much to do. She came with a little bit of a run. She galloped out like a freight train. I still wonder, though, is she kind of in that, is she a full-blown tweener where, you know, she's probably not good enough at a route, but going down the hill, there's just way too much going on where she's going to have way too much to make up.
Well, she needs pace.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure she's going to get it in here, which is why I relegated her to underneath status. I liked her win 3 back going a mile.
Yeah.
It was a race where Gary Stevens was very confident. He could have gone wide on the turn and lost ground. He probably still would have won anyway. He stayed in, and once he split horses, he won that race very comfortably. Last time out, just too far back, a race without a lot of pace. Could be a similar situation in this spot, unfortunately, for Peach Cove. Not Too Shiny is the number 8. Not Too Shiny. I think this horse could do a little bit better second off the layoff, and Rajiv probably can have this horse close to the pace, which could certainly be a boon.
Yeah, if you don't think there's going to be a lot of pace signed on, this one's at least shown the ability to get into the running a little bit earlier. Second off the bench, I'd expect a forward move. And look, 5 for 27, and she's 3 for 15 going down the hill. You could do worse.
Time for Ebby's also interesting. Gary Sherlock's done well going dirt to turf in the past, including with Time for Ebby, who scored going at 5 furlongs at Del Mar back in August. That was a race, though, when you watch it, boy, it seemed like the pace fell apart, and she benefited by making the last run.
Pace fell apart. Last run was the winning move. I also wondered, that was at 5/8. She's gone down the hill one at a time. It wasn't particularly good. I'm not saying that she can't run well going down the hill, but at the same time, there's a major difference between 5/8 and 6.5.
Of course, she beat in that 5 furlong race. Wedding Blush came back to run 3rd for 40 with a 79 buyer. The 10 is a little bit lovely coming off the Ryan Hansen claim. Timeform US has this horse on the lead. And again, this is a horse that just won at a mile, but has good speed, is cutting back in distance, gets the bottom, which I think is all important when you're going down the hill over this quirky configuration. This is a horse that would not surprise, I don't think, anyone if she won.
No, I think she makes a lot of sense in here. I prefer her over the other turnback for O'Neill simply because this filly, or mare, she's shown that she can be up there even going down the hill. Forget about last time being out there. And I think you had a couple of decent horses in there. I know the overall body of that race has not come back strong, but the runner-up came back 76 buyer in the next start. So I think there's some positives here. I expected a nice run.
She won twice going down the hill in 2017. Let's take a look at our picks for the Friday DRF Bets Race of the Day. Adios Cali is the 4. That's your top selection. What price do you get? How do you bet this race? This is the anchor in everything, basically.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I don't have any real strength of emphasis or conviction in this pick. This is just more a matter of, I think this entire race, if you ran it 10 times, you might get 10 different results. I want to take a shot on a horse that I wonder if she's probably been doing the wrong thing all along, and maybe she's wanted the turf. I think she might be even north of 15 or 20. I think she might be 30 to 1. I'll play her to win. I'll use her underneath an exactus.
You're going to go 4, 10, 1, and 5. Wonderful Lie is logical. She's not very interesting on paper. I think her merits are obvious. I think she works out a similarly good trip to the one that she got 2 starts back. In multiple race wagers, my weight's on the bookends. The 1 and the 10 both are sharp, both have good speed. In a single race standpoint, I go 1, 10, 9, and 5. That's your DRF Bets Race of the Day for Friday, February the 2nd. And again, if you are playing the Friday Great Race Place card, please consider DRF Bets. $200 free bet. No deposit required when you go to drf.com/join and sign up using the promo code FREEBET09. Approximate post time for the 8th at Santa Anita on Friday, 4:30 Pacific. Good luck.